Hey everybody, Bearded Rogue here, and I wanted to do a little update about my Taco Trucks game, since I've had some people ask about it. Played it at Designer's Night, and a few things have changed. So the board looks very similar, it's still a 3x5 board. These cards around the outside are the company stock cards, and we'll get into how they work in just a minute. We still have the Taco Truck pieces. We now have money as a thing. Money are your points. The first thing to point out is that these right here, which I showed in my last video, these elaborate score charts and all of that stuff, done. No more. We're not using those. First of all, the math's way too busy. It's way too confusing. There have to be multiple charts for each player count, so forget about that. Score charts are no more. We're going to ignore those. They don't exist anymore. Money is the name of the game. So, the next piece that is similar, but not quite the same, is that we still have the 15 pieces that are shuffled up and then placed out into the city, representing customer demand. However, we changed the values a little bit. We found that there were far too many good valued spots, and everything was kind of scoring the same. So we've lowered the overall values of everything so that there's some definite hot spots, as you can see. In this case, none of the zeros are together, so that's pretty good. Although the person down here and the person up here would both score 0 points in this instance, because that's the only thing they're adjacent to, even though it's the highest number. So that's one thing that we've changed, is that these numbers have altered. The numbers have gotten smaller overall. We changed the distribution up somewhat. But that's definitely made it a much tighter game. Position matters a lot more, which is what I really want. I want this to be a spatial game. And then we're using economics as a score system. So let's get into that. So each player has a hand of 6 stock cards, one for each company. They are the same as the companies that are on the outside of the board. Right now they're just colors red, blue, green, yellow, pink, and black. They're the same as the colors of the taco trucks. So that's all there is. Of course, there's a lot more theme that can be injected there, but right now players have one set of stocks, and then these cards, the action cards, still exist. I've printed some up and altered things a little bit. So let's go over what they do. So the top piece of this, again, the yellow action piece, lets you take a yellow taco truck and put it anywhere on the board. I'm going to put it next to this 5, because why in the heck wouldn't I? So that's what the top piece does. Move works slightly different than before. Move used to be you could take any one taco truck and move it one space, like so. Now, move lets you take lets you make 2 moves on the board. So I could take this taco truck and move it 1, and then I could also take this taco truck and move it 1, or I could take this taco truck and move it twice, for example. As you can see, the pieces all being paper is still problematic. Right now, for testing, it works, but trying to do it one-handed while manning a camera and holding a card, a little difficult. But so that's what Move does. So Move has been powered up a little bit. Move now does that. You can also wrap around. So I could move this yellow around the board to here, putting it next to this 5, which is very good. The one condition on Move is that you can't push people with a move. So you can't move into where somebody else is. So this yellow guy cannot move into that black spot, even if he wanted to, because he's blocked. He can, however, move any other direction he wants. And you could use the move to move the black one and then move the yellow one, but that would be both of your moves. So that's how Move works. Next is Slide. So you'll see pink, of course, lets you place a pink taco truck. Slide now lets you move an entire row or column by one space. So in a slide, I could slide this whole column here like this. If they were on the edge, I can actually slide them around. So the board wraps in all instances, so I can slide around. I can also just slide one whole column down rather than a row. I said column earlier, but moved a row. So you can move one whole column. Either way, you're only moving it one step, but you move everything in that row or column one step. So that's how that works. Next is rotate. Rotate is anything around one block, so you pick one block, and you either rotate it clockwise or counterclockwise. So I could go like this and move it clockwise, or I could reverse that and move everything counterclockwise, like so. So those are the two options that I have for rotate. Either way, rotate moves around a single block. It does not wrap because that would be very confusing, but that's what it does. The final one is swap. Swap is still in the game. Swap lets you take two guys that are adjacent, two taco trucks, and move them like so. So swap, rotate, slide, and move are what are in the game. The wilds were removed. They were just far too confusing. Move was too weak. Slide was really powerful. Rotate was added in place of wild. And that basically sums up that piece. So action cards are roughly the same with a few different actions and a few different clarifications on how the actions work. The round structure is also slightly different. So just like before, everybody will have a handful of cards. They'll have all the cards that they're going to play in the game. So in a 4-player game, each player would have 6 cards. So let's say I have these 6 cards in my hand, and I have 2 blue cards. So that means that I'm going to have a pretty decent control over blue in this game. So now you no longer bid before the first round of the game, and you're only going to use 3 of your 6 stock. So what will happen is we'll all play 1 card, and again, just like before, I'll pick one of the actions to use, and then the opponent after me has to use the other action. Once the 4th player chooses which action they're using, the 1st player gets to use whatever's left over. So everybody gets 2 actions around, basically. Everybody plays 1 card, everybody gets 1 action off their card, and 1 action off the other player's card. In between the first round and the second round now is where we will all pick which stock we wish to bet on. So I'm going to pick blue, like I said, because I have more influence over blue. So I'm going to play that face down. Then we'll all play our second card. After we play our second card, everyone will flip their stocks up, and all stocks will score points based on how their proximity to the various numbers. So in this case, didn't do a very good job with blue because blue only scores 2. So we put 2 coins on the blue stock. Yellow would score 4 in this case. Pink would score 2. And black would score a lowly 1. Now, once we've done this step, we'll then divide all the coins evenly amongst everybody who has that stock, or as evenly as possible. So, if 3 people, say, had played yellow, I was the only person who played blue, then each one of them would get 1 coin, and one of them would stay on the stock here until the next time that we check stocks. If they can be divided evenly, they are. So, say 2 people had chosen pink, each of them would get 1. If I'm the only person who has stock, I get all of the money. So in this case, we'll say I'm the only person who played blue, I get all of the money on blue. And then we do that 3 more times. 2 rounds with a stock bet in the middle. Each player will have played 3 stock. Those are the stocks that will score them for the game. And whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. That's basically where I'm at right now as far as simplifying the scoring and cleaning up all of the math and weirdness that occurred. I don't know whether everything should accumulate money, regardless of whether players have actually placed it on the board or well, obviously if there's none on the board, it won't matter. But if there's stuff on the board, but nobody actually bet on that stock, then I don't know whether or not it should accumulate money to entice people to try to diversify or not yet. I haven't play tested this version heavily enough. But, like, again, if there were two things on the board, like, say, this blue guy was here, again, he would score for the highest stock he's next to, which is 5. And then this blue would score 2 because he's adjacent to a 2, so it would score 7 for this round. And so each round, as the board fills up and the taco trucks are placed on the board and manipulated and moved around, you get a clearer picture of what's scoring what. You're incentivized to try to bid this, or to choose the same stocks as other people so that they aren't monopolizing it, but at the same time you also kind of want to have a monopoly of your own. So you're both trying to, keep the other people behind and at the same time maximize your potential earnings. And that's my Taco Trucks game. Those are the revisions that I've made so far. Again, we're going to be playing the heck out of this to play test it and figure out if this version needs any tweaks. But these are the updates since the last time I played. I took it to the designers night here in Cincinnati, and the designers in Cincinnati are amazing. This whole community is amazing, but I'm particularly proud to be a member of the designers here in Cincinnati, at least until my move. Either way, I'll always have a soft spot for all the people down here who took my crazy ideas like my Taco Trucks game and helped me turn them into full-fledged games. So if you have any questions or any suggestions or anything that you think will be an immediate problem or that I need to consider or that I need to look into beyond the physical aspect of it not being good yet, like I'm not going to worry about making a better prototype until I've got more of the kinks worked out. But this is what I've got so far. I would love to hear from you. There's nothing better for a designer than to have people excited about, interested, or talking about his design, no matter what state it's in, whether it's functional or not, whether it's pretty or not. Doesn't matter to me. I would just love to hear what you guys have to think. So I'm going to let you go, because this is already a little bit long, and Bearded Rogue signing out.